Hey everyone, I just wanted to give you a little rundown of the decimal concepts we've learned so far in 5th grade. So first we will start with powers of 10, which covers the base and the exponent. The base is the big number. That is the number that repeats. And the small number is the exponent. That tells you how many times to multiply that base number. So 10 to the third power is 10 times 10 times 10. It's the base repeated by the exponent. And there's no math right here. All I do is, since it's a 10, I write my 1, and then I take the exponent of 3, and that's how many zeros I add. 1, 2, 3. 10 to the third power, which means 10 times 10 times 10 equals 1,000. Mistakes that students are making on this: they think they're adding 10 plus 10 plus 10 and getting 30, or they think they're multiplying 10 times 3. Please make sure that your child knows that this means I'm multiplying the base the number of times that the exponent tells me to. So 10 times 10 times 10. Another way that the students have to know it is they may see something like this. They may see 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, and they may have to tell you what it equals and the power of 10, so the base number and the exponent. So an easy way to do that is just go ahead and write down the base number. That's the number that's being repeated, which is 10, and then count how many times it's being repeated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your exponent is 6. Then they have to tell you what it equals. Well, that's easy because it's just a power of 10. So I write down a 1, and then I look at the exponent, and that tells me that I need 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure my comma is in the right spot. 10 to the 6th power is the same thing as 1,000,000. The next thing we covered was multiplying and dividing decimals by 10. So when you multiply a decimal, actually any number, but a decimal by 10, it gets bigger. The only thing you have to do is slide the decimal one place to the right. When you multiply, slide that decimal one place to the right. So this decimal is 94 and 375 thousandths. All your child has to do is, since I'm multiplying by 10, slide that decimal one place to the right. The decimal is now right here, so I rewrite it. 943 and 75 hundredths. There's absolutely no math involved on this. Now when I divide by 10, the number gets smaller. The decimal slides one place to the left. So I divide by 10. That decimal slides one spot to the left. So this number is 473 thousandths. The decimal would just slide right here. So now it's 0.0473, which is 473 10,000ths. Again, no math involved. They just have to remember that when you multiply, the number gets bigger. So the decimal slides one spot to the left when you're multiplying by 10. And when you're dividing by 10, the number gets smaller. So you slide that decimal one spot to the left. So the big idea with this is that each value place to the left of the other one is 10 times greater. So if I have 4 thousandths, that would look like this, decimal 004. And I go to the left. If I multiply it by 10, I get 4 hundredths. So that's there, that's there. I multiply it by 10 again, I get 4 tenths. 10 times bigger there. Multiply it by 10, I get 4. That's in the ones now. Multiply it by 10, I get 40. Multiply it by 10, I get 400. So each place value is going up by 10. Same thing with going backwards, except for it's being divided by 10. So it's getting smaller when you divide it. Okay, so I could say 400 divided by 10 is 40. Divided by 10 is 4. Divided by 10 is 4 tenths. Divided by 10 is 4 hundredths. Divided by 10 is 4 thousandths. The next thing that we've practiced is just knowing the place value. This is tough for the students. I'm not sure why, but what they need to know is that the order is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. They need to practice saying that so they have this order down. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So once they know that, then we can move on to standard form. Taking word form and putting it in standard form. That's number form, the way a number is usually written. So I have 4 and 17 thousandths. So what I'm telling the students is we box the keywords 4 and 17 thousandths. The only reason we're boxing because and means decimal. And I like to write above mine the numbers, and then I like to circle the place value. Now, let me tell you what they struggled with on the test. This says 17, but 18 out of 26 students wrote this. There's a big difference between 17 and 70. They need to slow down. They need to read what they're doing. So now I have this, and I can go to the place value chart. Thousandths. The 7 and my 17 has to be in the thousandths spot. The 1 in the hundredths. And I don't have a digit here, so that tells me I have 0 tenths. I cannot leave that blank. It has to have a number there. So then my whole number is 4. So this one is 4 decimal 017. 4 and 17 thousandths. So for the next one, I could do the same thing. I have to box those key words. 17, not 70, and 30 hundredths. So again, I can write it over my words. 30, not 13. Now I can write it. Hundredths. My last digit's going to be here. I don't even need the thousandths for this. So my whole number is 17. 17 has 1 10 and 7 ones. And it has 30 hundredths. So I need to make sure the last digit in 30 is in the hundredths. In the number 30, I have 3 tenths and 0 hundredths. 17 and 30 hundredths. Same thing for the last one. 95 and 19 thousandths. I'm going to go ahead and underline the thousandths place because the 19, the last digit, has to be in the thousandths place. So again, I could write above it 95 and 19, not 90, 19 thousandths. 95 has 9 tens and 5 ones. And the number 19, the 9 and 19 has to be in the thousandth spot. So I have 9 thousandths, 1 hundredths, and I don't have any tenths, so I have to put a 0 there. 95 and 19 thousandths. Now the same thing in opposite order is going from standard form to word form. I do the same thing. I still have to put it in my place value chart. So I'm looking at this one, 17.070. Then I just write it using the place value chart. So I have 17, not 70. When I see a decimal, I say and. Now I say the word 70. And I look at the place value thousandths. I can do the same thing with the next one. So I have to put in my whole number, 54, and I only have 2 digits. That means I don't have anything in the thousandths. So this is 54 and 10 hundredths. 54 and 10, then I say the place value, hundredths. And what they forget to do is put the place value. They'll just put 54 and 10. And that's not a number. They need to come back to the place value chart and write that last place value. Also, make sure your child has this place value chart written in their math notebook. They should. And the next one, again, I fill up my chart. 92 is my whole number. And for the decimal, 102 for the decimal. So I have 92 and 102 thousandths. Okay, so I would write 92 and the decimal gets an and 102 thousandths. Again, remind them to come back. Remind them to come back and put that place value on. And the last one is comparing. So I have 17 and 70 thousandths and 17 and 7 thousandths. So I start at the biggest, which is tens. They're all the same. Then ones, they're all the same. Then tenths, they're all the same. Then hundredths. I have 7 hundredths and 0 hundredths. So this one is bigger. This number, so I'm going back up here and I'm circling this number. 17 and 70 thousandths is greater than 17 and 7 thousandths. Can do the same thing with the next one. 54 and, let me write that smaller. 54 and 9 hundredths and 54 and 10 hundredths. Same, bigger. So I go back here, I circle the bigger number, my mouth eats it. 54 and 9 hundredths is smaller or less than 54 and 10 hundredths. Same thing with the next one, 92 and 103 thousandths and 19 and 103 thousandths. I start here. 9 is bigger than 1, so I'm going to circle the bigger number, make the mouth eat it. Please review this with your child. Thank you.